clap.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Loving
it. Wildly uninteresting podcast. Welcome to Wildly Uninteresting Podcast, episode number 99. We're so close to 100, it's not funny. With our amazing guest, Dr. Sex Woods, in the house. The very colorful, if I may add, very bright, very out there jacket you got on. I like the choice.
We're filming this on St. Patrick's Day, so...
Is today's...
No.
Get the fuck out of here. Oh, okay. I was saying, because somebody was wearing those shirts and shit the other day, and I'm like, I should know when this day is, right? Like, that's something that my people should know. Not like white people, but like redheaded people.
I miss
that
it.
seems
White
racist
people.
and genetically inferior.
being a black dude not knowing when Juneteenth is. Come on.
I went to the bank. I miss St. Patrick's Day every year. I never know. I don't know why. It's always the same day. And I went to the bank, and the girl was nice and gave me a button that was green. So I didn't.
You don't drink enough anymore.
Yeah.
Because when you did, you're like, I'm drinking every day. Fuck this. And now you're like, I don't remember.
I have no idea.
I think they take the whole green thing way too far. Some people can get the fuck out of here with that. You know what I mean? I don't understand.
Some people.
Understand why you get pinched when you're not wearing green. Why green has anything to... I guess St. Patrick's Day. What is green and St. Patrick?
Clovers, man.
Actually, what it has to do with is that the
Clovers,
Green Isles
man.
is where St. Patrick's started his missionary work, and he technically just like put the clovers as the Holy Trinity when he was being a missionary, and he supposedly got rid of snakes from Ireland, even though there's 2 snakes in Ireland. Like
He killed both of them.
He didn't kill both. There was but the last ice age got rid of them. But that was the legend on that.
I think we need another
took the
ice
credit.
age to get... But if it... Like an ice age dedicated towards like whiny bitch-ass little kids and stuff like that. Like something that would really just...
freezing annoying
It's a
people.
very specific type of ice.
Yeah. You know what I mean? I don't know where that ice, what kind of climate it would have to be to create that kind of ice, but we need it in the worst way. You know what I mean?
It would have to be that character that Arnold Schwarzenegger played. Everybody chill.
Yeah, Mr. Freeze.
Yeah, Mr.
Batman.
Freeze. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's gonna have. It's not so much an ice age as it is just a villain freezing annoying children
With like a frost gun, just like blasting them in the face. Like, what'd you say? You want a fucking trophy, kid? Fucking in the face.
Now you are the trophy.
Oh, you're mad you have to work more than 8 hours? Right in the face, man.
I think there is a solution to make people less whiny in society.
Remove their vocal cords.
No, I think that if we went back to where there was a draft and it was mandatory, like in
dude.
Israel,
Yeah.
young people in Israel, they don't complain about anything because they had to serve 3 years in the military.
Mandatory, right?
I
It's
agree with that.
mandatory, so
Yeah,
you're beat
people
into
that have
There's a way-
done military time never complain about anything like football.
Or
Yeah, because
Or
that
the election.
matters.
They still complain.
But they complain, but they don't complain about like, I can't believe my social media post didn't get so many likes.
Right.
so mad. That's I was talking to a military vet the other day, and I'm like, what's up with like cancel culture and these kids that like that all they want to do is like make it on YouTube and shit. Like, you can have a career and then like do shit on YouTube. Like, YouTube isn't like that hard. You know what I mean? Like, making a video and creating stuff, that's not that hard, right? So you could do that on top of whatever else you want to do, right? Like the career. Just have a career. I don't know though, because I feel like plan B's fuck people up for like creativity.
The pill?
No, like having a plan B for a company or like working for somebody, right? Oh,
Right.
I have a backup, right? Well, that'll always like ruin it.
It's
for
my
everybody.
dream to be an actor, but if that doesn't work out, I'll be a molecular biologist.
Yeah, you know what I
Nothing wrong
mean?
with that.
Because one always outweighs that. Like, you're acting when you're not making money for 10 years.
Right.
Like,
I'm going to do
it's
the
gonna
thing
outweigh.
that's easier
Yeah,
and
and it's
more
just
stable.
the idea. It's not that. It's just you'll fall back on the other thing.
Always. That's why I
That's why
always
you
wish
need
my
the fear.
the
Gotta
fear,
have that
man.
Fear though.
I wish my family taught me that there wasn't a plan B. Like, you know what I mean? Or like, because my dad was always like, you know, don't quit. Don't fucking quit. You know, or whatever. But I wish
or whatever
that
he was saying.
yeah, he was saying something like that. But I just wish that he was more like, there is no regular career for you, boy. You're gonna get out there and play guitar or
You're
suck
gonna
dick
be
for money.
special, boy.
Whatever you got to do, not to take the plan B. You
You're
know
gonna
what I
be
mean?
a star or a homosexual.
A homeless homosexual. It's the worst kind.
You gotta have a plan B. That's why we have so many homeless people. You know, you had this argument a couple of weeks ago on your podcast, but
Yeah.
honestly, personal accountability will always trump everything else because there's always terrible to think of. What's her name? Doesn't show up. Caitlin. Is her name Caitlin?
I don't know, man.
He doesn't know anyone's name.
All right. Well, she never shows up to work. All right.
Right.
Which means she doesn't get paid,
Right?
and that's always on her. She always has an excuse. All right. People need to get paid. They need to live. That's on. You need to have a backup plan. Now, going back to something else. We had a conversation with Easton, Zach, and everyone else. I'm going to bring them up to speed on this.
Ooh.
Okay.
I don't remember what it is.
Okay.
He's going
That
to bring
doesn't
you
surprise
up to speed,
us.
So
too.
if Ian kidnaps your family and has them at gunpoint, and there's a choice between
Jesus
two
Christ,
doors.
this is not going to go well for you. God.
Probably.
No,
right.
okay, hang on. Let me just set this up so I can just go ahead and bring them in on it and tear you down in one fell swoop. Okay. So I'm going to ask you both. Okay, if you, Adam, I've kidnapped Sarah, and I'm going
Okay.
to kill Sarah. Sarah, I've kidnapped Adam. I'm going to kill Adam. I put you both in this room, and there's door A, which is a microbiology expert, and there's door B, which is a general scientist. I have a question that is a microbiology question. If the person behind the door that you pick gets it right, your loved one lives. But
Okay.
if they get it wrong, they die. I'm going to shoot them in the head. Remember, it's a microbiology question. Are you going to ask the microbiology expert or the general scientist?
The microbiologist expert. Unless this is a trick fucking question.
It's not a trick fucking question. It's just to say that
It is a
it's
trick
best
question.
to ask an expert in a
Right.
field
Oh,
about
I see
their
where you went
field.
with that.
Yeah, but see, I disagree with that because most people I
Why?
know, because most of the
You're about
time
to
you look
find
on
out.
TV or anywhere else, they're like, I'm an expert on this, and 9 times out of 10, it's just a so-called expert.
Well, that's
They-
why
they
you
don't-
find
they
a
don't-
real expert.
Yeah,
But
that's
see,
why it's
what's-
a
what's-
real goddamn expert.
But what is a real expert besides someone that labels themselves an expert? What is a qualification you're going to say this person's an expert? Generally, a general
It's all
scientist,
hypothetical. Why can't you just fucking accept that it's an expert?
because I don't trust people when they tell me wrong information about food. All right, I've
I'm
seen
gonna let your family live, and I'm just gonna shoot you in the goddamn face.
Everybody lives but you.
Yeah.
and that'd be fine. So
Good.
good
No.
sacrifice.
I get that. That is the long way to say, like, trust the expert on the matter. I will say, though, that there ever so often you have an expert that is faced with a new question of life. Let's say COVID for some reason.
Right.
Pops into my mind. And then the
For some
expert,
reason.
I don't know why.
some of the experts were entirely wrong about how it's passed or what it's about. How can they defend against it, right?
But I mean, you know,
That's to be expected.
yeah, there's an exception to everything, and
Why?
there are going to be because
it's
that's how it
brand
is.
new.
No,
Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
no, it's not new. Coronavirus is common, and most of the common colds are all coronaviruses.
Well, I mean, it's new in the sense that it's widespread. It's
Yeah,
everywhere.
and if it's so easily figured out, why didn't you cure the fucking thing?
Yeah.
because there's still no cure for it. All you can do is treat
But
the
isn't there?
symptoms. No,
Yeah.
you treat the symptoms like you always have. When you
think
go
they-
and you get Theraflu or you get anything else like Tamiflu, it's the same mechanics in your body. It's the
Okay,
same thing
well,
we argued
again,
about your
if
strep,
that's the case,
about
then
pneumonia
why the
and
hell
strep.
didn't you take some time off of work and save the world?
I don't
it's
like
so
people.
good, so goddamn easy.
They, I
you
was
could have
watching
made so much money.
There is no way you can make money because people, you're gonna make money. You're scamming people. How many scams were there for
That's
like,
what I
oh,
was
you
about
can
to-
do testing. We can test you for coronavirus because you had the antibodies. There's so many tests on that, but there was like no accurate
You're missing
test.
my point. If it's so easy to understand and take care of, why don't you just do it? And
Because the government
and
let
then
you.
It wouldn't be a thing. Oh yeah, they're not just lining up to get this thing knocked out and make money off of it.
I watched a bunch of
Right.
videos the other day about they were like pointing out these people that come up with like It was like the dumbest kind of shit, like that would kill the virus on surfaces for up to like 190 days and stuff. But the owner of the company and the research development company and the marketing company and you name it, was the same like doctor that got his PhD
It's like
in public school or
dude.
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like one dude behind the website, the CEO, the chief development officer.
It's a
like,
single dude with multiple personalities.
I swear, dude. And a bunch of those come out. They had like a vacuum that would vacuum up like the particles or some shit, and then a certain like filter inside the vacuum that would kill that. Like, I guarantee you, people bought into this shit.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
no way they didn't.
Well, it's like that interview with T.I. He said that if you drink hot tea soon enough after coming in contact with it, it'll kill it in the back of your throat, so it won't get to your stomach and it won't spread in your body. Is what he believed.
Yeah, King
That's
Russell.
dumb.
No, he is 100% right. If you drink hot enough tea,
No.
it
You
will.
can get
If
out of
it's
my
like
house.
300 degrees,
I like you, but you can get out.
No, here's the thing: is you point.
Oh, okay.
If you drink actually boiling hot water,
Yeah.
it will kill.
that's
just
like
about,
if I drink lye,
All right.
it's definitely gonna kill everything.
All right.
It's gonna kill everything in my
Yeah,
body. Like, I'm gonna
absolutely.
save the world by drinking a glass full of lye.
You won't have an esophagus anymore, but
you-
Or
at
an
least you
asshole.
cured.
would you like some lye? I have some in the back of the car.
Nice, dude. That's
I feel like
probably
you
not
shouldn't
something
drive
you should
away
say.
around with that.
Do you still have the 300 pounds of energy drinks back there?
Well, it's about 250 now. 'cause
You
brought
sent
you
me
in
a
some.
picture. It was like you had like a bag of lye there, and then you just had like an
Jesus
army
Christ.
of energy drinks.
You're gonna be on the news.
Oh man, good.
I'd like to see the
times.
chemical reaction between an energy drink and lye.
That's
No, you
what I was
wouldn't.
just sitting here
No,
thinking. Is
no.
it would be terrible. I'm uncomfortable with it sitting under our sink.
Well, no. Are you? What kind of lye do you have under there?
100% pure.
Is it sodium hydroxide or is it calcium carbonate?
It's sodium hydroxide.
You a damn lie.
NHAO.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, that's not as chronic. Like the high cal lye, which you use for like mushroom propagation, or what they use in the tanning solutions when they used to dissolve people, and
Yeah.
hides and
I know what
like
you're talking
and
about.
bones and other stuff. That's what they used to do.
First
They
I
have
was
these-
mad, but now I'm on board.
Yeah, no, that's what they, because it has a raised pH. They keep adding it. It chemically dissolves all biological
People.
stuff.
Expert on people dissolving.
Yeah, we're dissolving people. That's
yeah,
cool.
but it's completely different because it's calcium carbonate and then it's calcium hydroxide, which is cooked from that. But sodium hydroxide is less toxic and will probably not kill you instantly.
That's good to be a slow, painful
Yeah,
death.
it'll take a week.
I think there's which one did you say? The calcium
Hydroxide.
hydroxide that you can get that from like the environment, right? You can like burn from the earth.
You mean wood ash, basically.
Wood ash, yeah.
You can technically do that, but you still got to like add calcium, like limestone to it, and it's still
Yeah.
a pain in the ass.
Well, that's something we were like pickling.
Pickling lime is calcium hydroxide,
Yeah.
but it's like $3 for a 1 pound bag versus that's a 50
pretty
pound
dope,
bag
though.
for $4.
What that's like. I don't know. I think a lot of things, like they demonize a lot of things, but there's a lot of household elements that you have, in your
Yeah.
house that would really fuck some shit up. Like I don't think people really realize, and I don't know
Right.
how like authorities weigh the options of like these people are like making drugs. Or are they cleaning their house a whole bunch?
Well, that's
The
why they
detective
took,
comes
that's,
in and,
That's what
and
they took
decides that.
away when they did the Analog Act. All right, which made like everything that you could categorize as the same kind of drug as the same Schedule 1 drug. They took away GHB on that drug, but they took GBL out of the market.
Isn't
But they-
GHB?
Gangsta
a
bitch
date
lean.
rape.
But see, that's the
It's
thing.
the
It's
date
not.
rape drug.
But see, that's the common society of it. But it just gets you completely drunk. It doesn't make you
Oh,
immobilized.
yeah, no, I know.
It used to be used as bodybuilding, and it makes you relax, makes people a sleep aid.
I didn't know until recently people would take it to get like people GHB
Yeah, it's like
themselves.
their thing.
Yeah.
They're like, that's what I do on the weekend. I'm like,
And so you
I'm
just
lost here.
need
Yeah,
like a
but-
small cap full
Yeah,
of it.
and you
Yeah.
just that's how you make GHB is you take GBL, which used to be paint thinner. It used to be like $5 can of paint
I feel
thinner,
like we have to beep all this out.
and then you And
Leave
then
one part out,
mix,
bro.
You mix your
Yes.
tabloid, the sodium hydroxide. You mix it 1 part to 1.5 parts. And you put it for a filter.
It's awesome.
I don't think we can explain the process of that.
It's on Google. You can do it.
You know,
Yeah, if
that's-
Google can get away with it,
I was
we're
just saying
fine.
that's what blows me away when I
but
when I
they're
was growing
Google.
up. Anything that I was
true.
like interested in, even like just science experiments that I wanted to do, be way before the drug use and all that shit. Right? You could get chemicals online back in the early 2000s.
Yeah,
You
before
could-
2006.
Yeah, dude, you could get, it was like the Wild West on the internet. And then out of nowhere, you couldn't even get like Mimosa hostilis to make dyes or soap because
Analog
people made,
Act.
yeah, it's so crazy.
Stupid feds.
And the craziest thing about it is like if you ordered mimosa, like the actual plant, and have it to your house, even if you were making dyes with it, if you were a hippie or if you were making soap, whatever.
It's a plant?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a root bark.
What?
And
Yeah.
they
Interesting.
would charge you for DMT even though it was just the plant material.
Yeah, because
They
anything.
would charge you to wait too.
Yeah, that's the thing when you see like when they bust out mushroom labs and you had to laugh every time they do it. It was like they have a bunch of PF cakes and it's like $500,000 of mushrooms.
Oh, yeah.
and it's all they pull out is like a
One,
gallon
like-
bag that's like of actual mushrooms, and it was like, I don't think that's worth $500,000.
Yeah, do you
But I
know
think your
how
math
they
is
price
wrong.
it?
We
That's,
sell
uh,
it to dummies.
but they-
This will work really well at the liberal arts college.
Yeah, but they categorize all the weight.
It's how they do it is weird. I remember getting locked up for my like the big time the first time, right? And I was in Indiana, and they took all this shit out of my vehicle, right? That I had stole. I won't say what it was, but I stole a bunch of it.
Allegedly.
Yeah, let's say because I had it down to a science, I would have made anywhere between $2,000 to $3,000 off of what I had in my van. You know what they charged me with? Almost, it was over $60,000
Yeah.
worth of equipment and stuff and blah blah blah. And it baffled me when they handed me the report, handed me the case file and the discovery. They were like, "Oh, you stole like $60,000 worth of stuff. You're definitely doing time." And I'm like,
Maybe that's how much they could make selling it to other
No,
countries.
it's what they police can make up what they want, and it's up to the lawyers and prosecutors to get you and figure out how much you're getting charged. Remember when I told you that the police lie about every single thing because they get away with it? They get
What are you
away.
talking about? Believe all police.
No. I believe.
I'm just covering my ass, man.
Police lives do matter, and I understand what they have to do and go through, but they're state employees.
What do they have to go through?
They have to go through everyone giving them crap every single
"Fuck
day.
them, fuck the police, fuck
the
them
police."
all."
But here's the thing: they have
stop
the legal
beating
right.
innocent black people.
No, it's not just that. They have
Club
the
the guilty
They,
ones.
they can literally beat every single person and then not charge them. It's like, well, if I don't charge them, how are you going to get my ID number on there to sue me? I've
Well,
seen
you
police.
get them on video now.
Well,
It
but-
seems like everybody's.
They have
fucking got a
body
cop on
cams, but you
video.
can turn it off. The guy that
No, I'm
turned
saying
off
the
the
person,
body
like,
cams before he
holding it.
shot up, like free the people he knew, like
Did
in
you see
Bardstown
that
Road.
stupid ass
Yeah,
thing
he got
passed in the
suspended.
Kentucky Senate?
Shut
Yeah.
up. The
Yeah.
one that you
Yeah,
can't
211.
say some shit.
Yeah.
God.
Oh, did it pass?
Yeah,
What
it
a bunch
passed.
of pussies.
In the
Look,
Senate?
I
I
sent
haven't
it
looked
to
at the
him.
House.
I sent
Did
it. No, it passed. It's law now.
Also, I just said something like against. So
Oh yeah,
so I
you're
did something
definitely.
illegal.
Well, we've already had the feds listening, so
Although
you're definitely getting
I did
locked
look
up.
at the official like the wording and shit. It's like not just like calling a cop a bitch, but like to the point to where it's like instigation and like pushing.
Oh, so
Yeah.
if you just kept going
Yeah.
and going.
So I mean, if like
I
cops are bitches, you know,
Actually, what
you're
it-
fine,
what it
but-
does is
no.
anything.
I read it. Calm the hell down. But you know, if you just keep on about it, then yeah.
Oh,
But,
so it's
you
not
know-
something they're going to pull out of their pocket.
But
they can justify
they
themselves.
could.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
can justify it. Make
Oh,
it
this
up.
guy kept on.
So
Criminal
the,
mischief charges. And see, in one of the endangerment criminal mischief charges now.
the thing
So-
that upsets me is the
Pissing
fact
off
that
police.
it seems like through Black Lives Matter, through like bringing to the public like no-knock warrants and the fact that police brutality is alive and thriving, right? It seems like it's almost going to get worse as far as that's concerned. Like it's not even getting better. They're like, now you can't even say something about a cop without, like, now they have another reason to beat your ass. Like,
Yeah.
oh,
Well,
no
and-
knock warrant, that's fine. We don't have to do that now. Call us a bitch one time and we're going to break your door
But
down
see,
and
even-
shoot you.
but it doesn't.
time.
It doesn't matter. No knock warrant or knock warrant. It doesn't matter because the police knock on the door. They knock on the door, you have less than 30 seconds to answer the door, and they can still break in. And there's been even court cases where there's been no knock warrant laws, and police have busted in. And
they just make up a probable cause.
They don't even need the probable cause, because even you break in with the warrant, and you didn't knock, and it went to the Supreme Court, and it was like, well, any of the evidence they got is still admissible, which is the whole reason you need no-knock warrant laws. It doesn't matter if you bust in a door and then knock, or if you knock and then bust in a door, if you give 30 seconds.
Hey, we're in your house now.
Yeah, because they do it for drugs. It's all about drugs. How many violent terrorist crimes do you see on there versus how many drug raids go bad?
Well, I think they need to give up which I think we're headed in a direction where that's going to be a thing, but you have a lot of cops that were indoctrinated to believe that all of these so-called drugs were like the enemy. Like, that's what was causing all the crime. That's what's causing the rape. That's what's causing the murders.
Right.
And when it comes down to it, it's more likely poverty. And the fact that you what's it called when you profile a person and harass them and then stick them in a place together and pit them against each other. Maybe it's that, not the drug. Maybe the drugs help them escape the shit you put them in.
So
That's
eventually, if you have your back up against the wall, you're going to flip out.
See, that's
for long enough.
That's where the military experience comes in my opinion. Because, again, you have too many young people and too many people. It's like all they want to do is get what they want. Remember the guy about 6 months ago whose mom, they always deal like meth, like on the break and stuff, and he wanted to come in and talk to his mom, and he was like, no, you can't. He kept trying to get in for like 10 minutes, and he was really pissed off because we kept telling him no.
Yeah.
If you go anywhere in the community, like if you go downtown, your security, you tell someone no, they're so pissed off they're going to attack you. And that's why police are trained that way, because they're trained for any hostility. I'm going to kill this person. Because they can die. They can die at any moment, and people are okay with killing the police.
But I totally get it, and I totally get it. Like, being a cop isn't for, like, a normal person. Like, there's no normal person needs to be a cop. Like, if you're an everyday person, you don't need to be a cop, right? I think there should be strenuous, like
legitimate
guidelines.
training and
there are more
guidelines.
There's more percentage guidelines.
And why have they hired all the dorks from my high school to be cops? Like the ones that got beat up on, the downtrodden, the ones that didn't get the girlfriend and go to the thing,
and the ones with a low IQ.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing: they still test better,
Justin Witt.
and they're still stronger. They have to go. How many people to be any police officer anywhere? You have to go to a police academy. In Kentucky, there's only 2 police academies, and each time, out of the people that apply, you have like 3,000 to 4,000 people apply. They only take 30 or 40 people, and they do this twice a year. So they take the top 1 out of 100, and even then, half those people fail becoming police officers because they fail their 6 weeks because they have to be on the job 6 weeks while they're being monitored, and then be monitored another 6 weeks. And if they do anything, like they beat someone up or they screw things up paperwork-wise, they can't be a cop there.
Well, yeah, I guess I get that, but still,
I know.
Yeah.
There's been cases where a cop,
Get 'em in the Dakotas.
Got fired for being accused of raping like a victim on a call, then moved states or counties and became a cop elsewhere. It's like the fucking Catholic Church in those motherfuckers. Like, oh, you do wrong here, well, you can't work here anymore.
Yeah.
Wink, wink.
There's
but you can go upstate and work there.
But
There's
even
no accountability.
Or you can go in a correctional facility and
Which
fucking
is
boss them
super-
around
yeah.
where there's no cameras and you can fight them little pieces of shits.
But see, there's not that many. There's not that many people once you get past the academy. There's not that many people who get past there. Like, we need cops to be here because we have the state money. No, we don't actually personally need them, but the state says we need them because they put it in their budget. We need them. And the state, if you don't spend the money on the budget, that budget gets taken away from you. So that's why all these state departments budget these are, and the police captains and the unions are the ones that are screwing things up.
So why don't they get rid of the idea where it's like, oh, if you don't use all of this budget every year, then we're just going to get rid of it?
Well, because Congress and the Constitution put that's how that works.
The
That's
Constitution.
Well, actually, because
It goes that far back.
It actually does. When the Federalists and the Whigs were making arguments in the original Continental Congress,
Right.
The Federals were like, all they need, these states need to make their own budget. And the Federalists were like, we need a big overbranching power. But it all has to do with finance.
But
That's why the
remember,
finance
guys,
comes in the
if
House.
the school doesn't spend all their money on stuff, we're going to take it from them.
Yeah. It had to do...
No.
It wasn't eventually...
Oh, they
Shenanigans.
do that.
Shenanigans.
No, I mean, they do now, but
Oh.
I'm saying like in the olden times when they're
Okay.
forming the country,
I
they're
got
like,
you.
if they don't spend their budget, we're taking it from them.
Ian, who started the Department of Education?
I don't know who
Jesus
did.
Christ.
Your mom.
No. President Johnson. And he did it in the name of John Kennedy.
Well, hold on.
Yeah, my man.
What was it again? Who started what?
Johnson. He's the person who also put in...
No, who? What did he start?
Like
The
Department of Education. He's the one who put all the protocols in there. He's the one who put, like, Child Left Behind, that we hate the act. He put that act in, not in that name. Every president changes the name on it. It has to be passed every 5 years
What is
and signed on.
Jimmy Carter.
Huh?
Same thing though.
Yeah.
it's not.
Yeah, close enough. Let's listen to the other load of bullshit you're gonna spit about this. God.
Oh, goodness.
Whatever. The important thing is that on the way here, I was listening to Bill Hicks, Arizona Bay, and
That is
whenever
important.
I was sitting in your driveway there, and he was like, you know, if anyone here is in marketing or advertising, kill yourself, you know. And then that's played at the beginning of the Unwritten Law song from the Short Music for Short People.
Yeah.
And then I thought, you know, Tool was up Bill Hicks's ass too, because they like put him inside in the cover of Anima, and you know, like, oh, you know,
Yeah.
and they quote him and shit. And so it's like with him, like, his influence is just off the charts, and he was ahead of his time and all that jazz. And then there was George Carlin, you know, everybody,
Yeah.
he's great. Who do we have like that now? Like that's active and still doing it? I feel like there's not really one. It's not me.
My first
But
thought
thank you.
was Bill Burr.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Other than him, I mean, if you want to, you know, maybe someone
Yeah.
younger like John Mulaney.
No.
But yeah, he's definitely not as influential as
Right.
them.
Yeah,
Bill Burr's
he's-
the only one I can think of.
He's not enough on the societal level of stuff. He's just, I'm a Muppet.
Yeah.
You know? But yeah, Bill Burr. Okay. I would grant him that.
Yeah,
If he wasn't such
He's
a pansy about
badass.
Disney. And
I love Bill Burr. He makes me so happy.
I still haven't seen him on The Mandalorian, but.
do you watch The
like that
Mandalorian?
No.
What's
But
couch?
that's how I haven't seen him. But I like that he has a Boston accent, you know? Because he was like, oh, why not?
Yeah.
Except he can act. He doesn't sound Boston.
But I mean, he defended the Boston accent because he was like, if C-3PO could be fucking British, then why the hell can't I be from Boston?
That's right.
Okay.
Isn't he from Boston?
I thought.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I was just saying. I thought he was from Boston
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Seems like a Boston guy. Angry, fucking outspoken. Like he's definitely like probably
Always
beats his
talks
kids,
at
you know.
this level. It's awesome.
Always.
Yeah.
So ADA, which is what I looked up, I was wrong. The Department of Education was changed, but where they started segregating, like where they had to give equal pay from the government for like women's sports and men's sports, and that came from Johnson. That was my bad. I'm sorry. Now,
Well, obviously, I didn't fuck it up for you.
yeah, okay. So now the Emu
you, though?
War of 1932,
Yeah, let's
the
get
Great
to that.
The Great Emu
Emu
War.
War. Yes.
Yeah, don't disrespect
Like
it.
actual
It was
emus,
great.
right?
Yes,
Or- oh, okay.
yes.
Yeah.
Did they battle people or did they battle other animals?
People.
Okay.
See, the farmers.
What were they trying to take from the people?
See, Australia is a weird place. Okay.
God, of
And-
course it was there.
Where do you think emus live?
I don't know, Florida? I don't know anything about them.
Okay, well, you're weird. All right.
I didn't actually know where emus lived either.
Okay. So in Australia and Western Australia and all Australia is divided by different states, and they run giant fence lines. And the reason they do that is for farm reasons. You try to like get rid of like Tasmanian devils and all these other things. If you don't put the fence up, they eat your crops.
Just sounds fake. I mean, it's probably not, but it's just.
Yeah.
Oh man, not the Tasmanian devil.
No, it's about if you had animals
no,
eat
that's
your
actually
crop
a
all
real
the
thing.
time. So you had these
Yeah.
giant fence.
Yeah.
But emus say, screw you, I'm going through the fence. And then they would eat all these crops. And there was a lot of emus.
Yeah.
So after about 5 years of petitioning the Parliament of Australia, and yes, they had a parliament then, it's like,
What do
we
they
need,
have now?
I don't want to go into
Australia?
that. Yeah,
All right.
they have a representative democracy.
All right.
They changed in 1958.
Whatever.
Anyway.
Emus.
So in 1932, the farmers petitioned them, like, we need firepower because until 1928, it was illegal to kill the emus.
Yeah, what are you gonna do? Choke it to death, or like choke it out, put it to sleep?
Well, then,
Like,
but after that, they're like, okay, go kill them with guns, and like, we don't have enough guns. So they got farmers, about 400 of them, convinced the military to send the army in with like 3 crappy tanks and a bunch of assault rifles and 500,000 bullets.
Tanks.
And the emus, they fired off, and for about 2 weeks, they killed about 30,000 emus. But apparently it takes a lot of bullets to kill that many emus. And the emus, the emus destroyed
it's a
3 of
hard
the tanks.
headshot. Have you ever seen how big an emu's head is? It'd be hard to shoot an emu.
But I mean,
emu
can't we
in the
gather
head?
from this that the Australian army ain't shit?
Yeah, that's where I was like,
They're bad shot because they've
Yeah.
never had a gun in their hand.
but they destroyed 3 of the vehicles they're on. So the next week after that, he was like, oh, Parliament, we need to beat these emus. And the Parliament laughed at him, but they still gave him $3 million in army and had
to beat the emus.
to beat the emus.
They're overtaking us.
They had 9,000 of their soldiers.
Like
And-
now, I'm not even. I used to think like Australia, like you got to watch out for some of our allies to rise up and fuck us up, right?
Yeah.
But now that I know this, I'm like, America would have had that problem solved. They would have dropped a nuke on the emus, like a small nuke, like the first nuke. You know what I
small
mean?
nuke.
Not really
No,
big. You
but
know?
it's
They
about
would-
keeping the farmland. It's about farming. You don't want to nuke that. And they
Can
didn't have
we-
nukes in 1932.
Oh, that's
Can we
right.
just be honest? They would weaponize the emus.
Oh yeah, they put like cameras on the emus,
And they did.
fucking-
They did weaponize them. All right. See, but they had 9,000, and like 8 of the soldiers died because the emus.
How,
they pissed off the
how the fuck do you let an emu overtake?
Because it's not one emu. It's like
Is
a
it emu
flock.
or emu?
It's like a flock. It's like a flock.
That's
of
whatever you
emus.
want to say.
a flock of sea,
A
flock
flock
of emus.
And
Flock
they
of
all right,
emus.
imagine like you see cattle running down, but instead of these giant cattle drives, there's giant emus that are coming, and they.
Oh, I know. The
they're-
first picture on Google is like a stampede of emu. I've never seen that many emu. That's fucking intimidating
Yeah.
for sure.
I
And
lost
they used
my
to-
husband in the great
Great
emu.
emu. Can you imagine that, dude? Well, just imagine like going back to like 1900s or just right before that, the end of the 18th century, right? And you just think about like the problems and shit that like happen nowadays that are just normal everyday shit, and you're like, oh, you laugh it off, but back then would have caused massive destruction.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like lack of water for 2 weeks would have killed every crop, and they wouldn't know what to do and shit. Now we just grow in like hydroponics and shit.
Yeah.
And, like we can say it's just crazy, man, to think of like what devastated them that we would laugh at it now.
Yeah, but then
It's awesome.
the reason you should fear the Australian is that when we were struggling against the Japanese, Japan was at war fighting the Australians for territory after they took over the Philippines from us. And Australia was kicking their ass.
So, real quick though, like if a bunch of emus together like that, if they were coming at you, they would be called a mob of emus, like a group of them.
So you're saying the
It wouldn't be a
emus
flock,
are
it
more
would be mob.
fierce than the Japanese?
Yeah.
Well, see, what they used
Oh,
what
without a
they
doubt.
did is they actually took emus and put them on boats in 1942 and drove them onto the islands to confuse the Japanese.
They put like Viking hats on them and shit.
No,
with, like
no,
the big braids.
No, just like they strap napalm on 'em, just like we strap napalm to bats and drop them onto Japan. All right.
I'm so interested in all the different
No.
things that
I
you
know.
can use emus for.
They used
There's
to,
so many.
They used to race them like horses. Like they're hard to mount and control, but they've had races with them, right? You can ride a emu.
I don't know.
I mean, it's sporadic. You're not going to control it like
Right.
a horse.
I don't know
I think
why
that's the
I-
fun of it, though. Like a NASCAR race, somebody's going to wreck. You know
I
what I mean?
always imagined that with ostriches, but I
maybe
imagine
that is what
they're
it is.
both kind of the same. So
Yeah, I think they're just either emus or too like they're not dependable animals, and I feel like they're definitely going to fuck some shit up.
People
Yeah.
raise them for meat because they taste like cattle, though. But they're like $2,000 a bird. So
Oof. I couldn't imagine like
like a
raising
llama.
something from a baby and then be like, hey, baby, I'm going to throw this like thing inside your face and whatever that thing's called, the piston that they blow
Well, no,
the brains
you
out
got.
with.
Here's the thing: when it's an adult emu, it weighs what you weigh, so you're gonna
Yeah, but I raised
break
it.
its neck. So it took 2 years.
I raised it.
You're sick of it by then.
No, I'd
I
be like,
can't
oh,
imagine
baby
being
emu.
sick of it. Yeah.
Oh, pretty emu.
We got to get one now.
But yes, the emu bombs and the bat bombs of World War II are some of the most awesome things ever.
We were watching a documentary about this guy that would go to where was that place? You still can't you can't get cigars from him and shit.
Oh, Cuba.
Cuba. And the dude would go over there and like really report like what is it really? Because you
What's
know
the happy
you're
haps?
raised to think Cuba's so bad and shit, and really it wasn't. And this
It
guy's
is.
going over the camera stuff. Even the leader at the time.
Yeah.
What was his name?
Castro,
Was it
Fidel Castro.
Fidel? Yeah.
Sing.
So that guy, he seemed like a pretty nice guy, other than the fact that he was dead set on his type of government and like not open to change. I can understand, right?
you know
But
what
he
he
wanted
did?
it to work. I'm sure the capitalists were like, "This is gonna fucking work." It's still not working, but we're like bashing it in the fucking head and making everybody else jump
Okay.
on board.
Castro was an interesting character because he was originally a capitalist. We supported him to overthrow the current Cuban government. It was basically a Spanish dictatorship. It was a colony of Spain still, where they were a puppet nation, just like Canada's a puppet nation of Great Britain. I don't care what you say. All right? They still the
Fully
queen.
independent.
Yeah, well, they still salute the queen.
Yeah, I was just say, I would say something that always bothered me about Canada is like they're so happy-go-lucky, but they have indigenous people that lived on the land, and they actually have different rights compared to the people who took over.
Yeah.
Like, and they're always like, "Well, go back to your fucking country," and they were like, "I was here
here
first."
Yeah.
The only weird thing is they don't live on like reservations, right? Like that we here when when the Europeans took over. They were like, we'll give you some land. Like, we'll give you something to hold on to, right? Here's this. And they put them in those little communities where you don't see them. Well, they live next door to them. And they're like, I'm indigenous. You took my land, but we're going to be neighbors and have fun and eat cake at your daughter's birthday party and drink beer together. And then we're going to fight about it. When the cops show up, I have a different,
Opinion.
like,
Set of
whatever. They look at me
rules.
different. Yeah, a different set of rules and shit. But it just bugs me. Like, people don't see that, right? Like, they don't see that that land was taken too. Like everybody, I don't know who. I want to know who the fuck is the main ruler. Like somebody is setting up on a mountaintop somewhere. Like the ruler. There has to be, right?
The ruler.
The way everything's
Mountaintop
going, there
ruler.
has to be.
You know, you talk about like how there's no tradition in church and there's people that don't believe in anything. People at a long time ago, for the longest time, believed the Catholic Church so much that
Yeah.
there was a treaty of Rome that broke from Portugal and Castile and Aragon. It was like, all right, you get half of this world and we get the other half of the world. And they actually signed on it and agreed on it.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. Like, so, all right, let's say there's two parties involved in the first transaction. Let's just say that, right?
Yeah.
Just to have a fact to grab a hold of. If there's two parties involved, those two parties had a family. That family had a family, blah, 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 all the way down the line. Right now, there's two people that rule this fucking world. That you don't know, you're not going to know their name. They're not a Rockefeller. That's somebody who built a company and they made a lot of money. That doesn't count. That is not an elite. An elite is somebody who the world answers to. And two guys or two girls, whatever, they meet in a room and they're like, yeah, you can go ahead and do that. Or no, we're not gonna give
Don't
equality
let that
Bill-
shit
the-
happen.
to women.
The
Like, are you
Bilderberg
crazy?
Society.
No, see, I don't agree with that
They
either
have to
because
be
they have
alien.
business. They have like people who built businesses. I think Mark Zuckerberg's in that now and all that shit. Like that's not a fair comparison either.
It
That's
is
not
very
elite.
fair, but
well,
it
I
is
mean,
elite.
kind of.
Okay,
Yeah.
You have all the richest and most powerful people in
In
the
one group,
world
yeah.
that then put out meetings and be like, all right, we're going to raise the gas prices this time.
fucked up.
And what do you think they do? Oh, they're going to play poker for 2 weeks. Who says they play poker for 2 weeks? They come and go as they please and do what the hell they want. They want something done. They do what they want. It's the Council on Foreign Relations versus secret societies. and you look back who controls who, and they're all intertwined.
Are you looking
What?
at me?
That's
Yes, you, Ian, because I know you're in charge.
the scary part about it is I think people fail to realize and they hang on to this shit that doesn't matter. So a customer of mine, right? Because I have them on both of the spectrum. I have to be unbiased when I approach a customer because I don't give a shit to begin with.
Yeah.
But I have some that are hardcore Trump supporters and hardcore Biden. I even have some that voted for Kanye. Like, I have them all, right? And I agree with all of them. Like, have your fucking opinion. That's great, dude. That's what this country is built on. But if you think that vote fucking matters in any decision that they make towards your well-being, you're a fucking idiot. Bottom line, you could take that to bank,
And that's
write
the
it down.
bottom line.
I'm telling you, when it's all said and done, that fucking vote does not matter in any decision of your well-being.
It's about controlling who votes and what the narrative is and how many times you vote. Is I can vote multiple times and get away with it. But as I can point out to anyone else who's worked at poll booths, they can literally change the vote totals to what they need them to. All right, those machines are like printers. Are you telling me in the city where they have all these modern machines, they can't print out vote totals instantly? Of course they can, and they do. But you have all these precincts can't. In every major city you have these things. It's not about actual counting votes. The machine already has them counted. All you do is print off the total. But you can go in
wouldn't know the
there and
difference
add
either.
them.
Yeah, I mean,
but
you
you
wouldn't
can
know
go
the
and
difference
add.
anyways.
I've worked in the polls until the last
Well,
two
that's what I'm
elections,
saying, though,
and you
like,
can go
but
there and change the totals on the
if
machine.
you can change them, then that means that the
Anyone
guy
can
who wants to fucking win can
Yeah,
change them. That
exactly.
means that Mark Zuckerberg
I
can
feel
change
like
them if
that's
he
not
wants.
true.
No, I mean the individual poll worker. The individual poll worker can change them, and we did that one of those days for fun.
That's not true.
You just hit.
It is true.
There's
You just hit
no-
edit. And you change that like 7 to like a 24, and you're like,
Right.
yeah, all right.
Yeah, that's what you do. You can change. You can be like, all right, this is
So, I mean,
24 votes. on
Even if
this.
that's the case, is there no record of edits?
Right.
Actually-
Is
would
there
have
no
to
one
be.
in
Oh, there
charge
definitely
or
is.
There's-
accountable for this? Is there no
Under-
password?
there is no password, but there is very few people in charge of that.
So
On the
that
board
means
of election,
I could show up
If
and
you're-
change it because there's no password.
are you a poll
Yeah.
worker?
No, but if there's no password or anything.
Did you ask her if she's
Yeah.
a poll worker?
And there's
Because she's definitely a poll worker.
And there's
She
clearly no
definitely works the
accountability
poll.
or record keeping of any of this.
The record keeping is that you're supposed to have ballots to back these things up, but they generally throw them away immediately afterwards. If you put your paper in the machine, it doesn't ask who you voted for on that. All right.
Can I just say, I love how funny Adam thinks it is to think about me as a stripper.
Well,
This is how nonchalant he was like, "Are you a poll worker?" And I was like, "This was a happy accident, and nobody's saying anything."
So great.
I'm a little kid. Now I know for sure that I'm still a little kid because that shit was funny, dude.
it's
Yeah.
Christmas to you.
I just
No.
assumed that you were imagining me dancing on a pole because
Yes.
that's what made me
In that
laugh.
fur
That's
coat,
ridiculous.
just the fur coat,
Just this.
whatever that coat is made out of. That's
Yeah.
all you have.
It's made out of
I went to a strip
excellence.
club one time, man, and the
Pimps.
chick in front of me, and I still gave her money. I don't understand how it happened, but the chick in front of me was dancing, and then all of a sudden she stopped, pulled a phone out of the front of her underwear, and started texting. And I still gave her money.
Why did you? I was gonna say she didn't get any money.
No, she
Or
still
was
got
she
money
hot?
from me. Yeah, and it was one of those things like she knew she was, and she was like, I don't even have to dance. I'll just text. And I was like, yeah, you're right.
Did she put
Maybe
her
I was
boobs
too
on your
drunk.
head?
Do you remember what
No.
we talked about with
are you
Brandon
doing?
about like there are no worse people than strippers? Generally,
I don't recall this, but I'll accept it. Yes.
Yeah,
go
all
on.
right. The difference between a hooker and a stripper is generally strippers are generally pure evil. I've never met a stripper that I can have a conversation with. It was like,
What? I've met many that I
I
can
was
have a
thinking
conversation with.
You might not
No.
have been to enough strip clubs.
no, that you can have a conversation with and get deep into their life and be like,
Oh, no.
you're a horrible person. You are worse than I could ever be, and I'm a horrible fucking person."
You know, I
Step up
love.
your evil, man.
I think I love strippers, but not for the traditional reason as to why.
She's right there. Your wife's right there.
She fucking knows.
She's a poll worker, not a stripper.
Right?
We
Fucking
used to go.
respect me.
We would just go to strip clubs just to go and sit down somewhere other than like a bar or something like that. We would go like, pretty much every weekend, And it wasn't for what the strippers were doing. It was more for the atmosphere of the fun, the carefreeness. If you take out like the drugs and the crime and the fucking the weird buff dude that's always the guy
Bouncer.
who owns the place,
Security.
the dude with the fucking button down, the grease and the fucking gold chain and shit, you take him out of the picture, and it's really a pretty fun, little place to
I
go.
gotta say, if you remove all those things, I was thinking that sounds terrible.
Yeah.
No,
Why
it's
do you-
it's church. It's the
Why?
same reason people go to church. It's the social aspect.
My soul's dead. I just want to feel something.
Yes.
Remember,
I
you were
just want
talking
to shake
about
somebody's hand.
it is about when people go to church. The reason you go there is about building a
see
sense of
titties.
community.
And
No, it's
putting
about
money in the basket.
It's not about putting
I'm
money.
either gonna
It's
put
about
this in your G-string or in the basket.
if church and strip clubs are very similar. But
Oh
it's
yeah,
a-
because they confess their sins. to
you
those
confess your
strippers.
sins. But generally, every reason I go to evil is
Somebody's gonna be down on their knees.
yeah. If you take
So
all the-
many potential jokes here.
Yeah, I'm loving this one. Keep going.
Somebody's
when you're
eating
talking
ass
about
upstairs.
church and you don't feel any clarity, all right? People go to church to feel connected to each other, and there's a lot of tradition on there. I had this argument with you. You're talking about, it's like, oh, it's about here's where faith and belief. It's not about faith. There are oral traditions that are written down.
Yes,
Yeah,
there
there is.
are.
Yeah, there are oral
Yeah.
traditions written
No
down.
sex in the champagne room.
Yeah, but generally they do that. And strippers drug people. Church doesn't drug people sometimes.
You don't know
I
that.
would fucking love to be drugged by a
Depends
stripper.
on.
Yeah,
your
but
type
see,
of
no,
church.
you
I
wouldn't
don't
because
think
then
I've lived fully.
No, if you do that, they rob you.
You were drugged and raped.
Oh, yeah.
By a woman who was not a stripper.
Yeah.
So it counts.
Does that count?
Was that
No.
by like a nurse? Because that's
Gotta
happened to
happen
me
again.
like twice.
No, she had a tattoo right above her vagina that said something. It was a 3-letter saying, or a 3-word
Cum
saying.
catcher.
Yeah,
Not
and
a
it had-
pussy.
And it had 2 stars, but it was like a shitty tattoo, so some of the shit fell out, and because she's always getting rammed.
Was it say
And it-
"Save the World"?
Oh, I hope.
I don't know.
If it was "Save the World," I knew who it was.
Is her name Shandy?
Yeah. Yes.
No, it ain't.
Shandy.
Her name is
on.
Sharon.
Oh no, so close. This girl's name is Shandy.
So we got Shandy, we got Sharon, and do
And
we
she's a
have
rapist.
Shanda Sharon? Anyone?
Yeah. As I've told you, and this is horrible, never date a stripper, but also never date a swimmer, like a female swimmer. Female swimmers
Female swimmer.
are stronger
Male
than you.
streamer.
Oh yeah.
And if they piss you off,
definitely
they will
stronger.
rape you. They will rape you, and you can't do anything about it. 'cause
You're
you're strong.
saying swimming women are rapists?
Are they all rapists, or is there a way to tell
Yeah,
which ones
I-
are?
I don't know if they're all. I just know the 3 that I've dated have done horrible things to
You
me.
gotta have that rape dart. Otherwise,
I
we
feel
just-
like if they can dive from the high dive, like the highest of high dives, they're rapists for sure.
Oh, because they can let gravity take over, they rape people.
No, I think they just their heightened level of like adrenaline. They're like, I'm adrenaline seeking, so I'm gonna rape you.
Well, no.
Like,
All right. Think about how they're exercising and they swim in the water, so they're doing resistance training for hours and hours and hours and hours.
So
and
couldn't we
hours.
just like go to the local pool and wait for the
Resistance
women to
training.
get done, but then like follow them to parks and wait until they pee
No.
and then just hit them with the
No, you
sex
don't.
offender shit?
No, you don't do that. Okay.
I got another one.
Set
No.
'em up.
We don't. We
How to
don't.
Catch a Predator, Swimmer Edition.
Swimmer edition. Yeah,
That sounds like a
dude.
good reality show.
I got into watching that like a lot,
BET.
dude. That To Catch a Predator, and then like I looked the guy up that did that. What's his name? The original dude.
Raheem.
Hi, I'm fuck me. Sarah knows it. We watched him a bunch of times. But
Joe
anyways, that
Biden.
guy, the guy that originally did How to Catch a Predator, he
Hansen.
apparently, Chris fucking Hansen. There you go. Apparently, like he got like caught in like a cheating scandal, and then was like fucking people out of money and lost everything. The banks took everything. He owed a bunch of debt to a bunch of other companies. They took his like Corvette and shit.
But he never tried to have sex with,
with a
children.
kid, yeah. But
Or did he?
Here's
Good
the
man.
thing. Here's the thing I feel about this.
I don't
Like as
know.
much as like I get what you're doing, right? You didn't ask for consent to put these people on TV, right? Now, given I'm fucking from prison, like the child molester can suck my dick, like you know what I mean? Like that's just what happens in prison. It's the way. It's just like the racially thing. I'm not racist, but you have to choose when you go to prison. Like that's just something that happens, right?
Are you choosing
But
Hispanics when you're there?
you should
the
not.
Latin kings of the blood.
Like say you caught somebody like doing some wrong shit, right? You shouldn't blast them all over that. You got to give this person a chance to change, to do better afterwards and shit. Yeah, you caught them, but like you're gonna put them on TV and shit. I think
They make money on the
that-
suffering.
Right,
They make money on
right.
the suffering. So
But that's why he went down later, is because
Yeah.
he made money on the suffering, and
Karma.
now karma is gonna come back. Even if he meant well, he was doing it for the money, right?
As I've always told you, it's like every day you commit so many felonies you don't know are felonies that if you call other people out, that's why you should never be on TV or run for office unless
Right.
you're squeaky clean. All right? That's why I cannot picture anyone besides president besides you. All right? I cannot wait for your campaign. I can't wait for things to come out on this podcast that you said.
No,
Yeah,
I mean you're
that would
absolutely
fuck me
right.
right there.
That's why I was asking you last time, like, if 2020 did a story about you, what would they say? Because they would dig up a lot of shit about me, dude. Like, I would be looked at horribly. Like, you know what I mean? They could either make me look horrible or make me look great, depending on which side of the story I'm on. Like, which side you decide to tell. Like, are you going to decide to tell the story about, me kicking in doors and being a drug addict piece of shit? Or are you going to tell me, like, the great overcoming that I did when I got out of prison? Like, what are you going to tell? You know
Obviously, the piece of shit.
Yeah, they're gonna tell.
That's
they're gonna
that's the best story.
They're
Yeah.
gonna tell the
better
cult
news.
stories. They're gonna tell why if you test the basement lab that I have, that I was telling him the Trollium B1, the type of anthrax that if you just put agar plates on the ground
Be
in the
cool, man. The FBI listens to this.
all right, but here's the thing: it's common contaminant, and you're just like, the only way to get rid
They
of
can
that
take
is
him down. It's fine.
yeah. the common
Release Mike!
The common contaminant. The only way to get rid of that stuff is like to put formaldehyde and catch it on fire to kill the spores in it.
We want to.
Anthrax Island's a real place, and there's Scotland did near the Isle of Man. Scotland did that shit.
Is that like
and
Zug Island?
no, it's near the Island of Man. It's
Zug
near
Island?
Zug
Oh,
Island.
Zug.
I want to
Long
make
Island.
a,
It's like
I want to make a
Tupac and Biggie
statement
are
without
chilling.
saying too much because I'm sure a lot of people know and I don't give a shit, right? And if the FBI does listen to this and ever has, I hope they're listening now.
They definitely
because all you motherfuckers are pieces of shit. Somebody that came to you and offered up as much information as you asked for was a good guy, a hell of a worker, a hell of a person. You fucked them and blasted them on the internet and then let them out within 24 hours. Like, you made him look like he went into a place with a gun and fucking like threatened the fucking president, and he didn't. You guys are pieces of shit. And
Yeah.
girls, if you work in the FBI.
Yeah.
Fuck you, fuck the government, and fuck the police. Fuck all you for that shit.
Have you
Yeah.
seen
And
And they're gonna
Mindhunter?
do it. I don't care
Yeah.
how good you are. If you're a good person and you offer up information, fucking forget about it,
just
bro.
Yeah.
don't
Don't
know.
talk to him. Tell him to eat your
Yeah.
dick.
Yeah, they'll
Thanks for the
screw you over.
stimulus.
Thanks for the stimulus, but you can suck me. You can
I-
have it. Fuck you.
No,
I don't need you.
no,
I'll
screw
go
the
live in the
stimulus.
woods.
Screw the stimulus. Think about how they're raising taxes and they're added new taxes added stock market trades that Joe Biden's put in, and no one's calling him out on it. I haven't got my stimulus checks because I run a business and supposedly I make more money than it's supposed to be allowed on my taxes. So,
Interesting.
but
Maybe don't be rich.
I'm not rich. I have it tied into other things.
Like, I got money all around.
Yeah.
I'm not liquid, but I've got assets.
Well, think about how many properties I own that I hate.
It makes
Sell
you
'em.
wonder too. You know how many people went in thinking they were doing a good deed for the government or doing a good deed on their behalf, and just got locked up for, and their shit just ruined, and people talking shit about. I mean, and that's the thing too, man. Like when I got locked up, right? Facebook went wild, and they called me a piece of shit. People I didn't even know,
Yeah.
bro, knew about me and shit like that. And they fucking hounded me, all that shit. And when I got out, people I didn't even fucking, hadn't talked to in years, fucking were
Like talking shit.
talking shit. And
Well,
it's baffling that people can do that.
Yeah,
People forget also that you're innocent. Like
Until proven- yeah.
They just assume, oh, you got locked up, therefore you were guilty. So
There's-
you can't
there's-
just like wild accusation. I mean, you can, but it's ridiculous.
When I went to jail the first time, there were people in all the news articles. He's why aren't they charging him with like child rape and all these other things? Because I
All
didn't know
kinds
these
of
people.
shit. Right.
I never met these people. But the news
Absolutely.
media was like, oh, he was intertwined on these things.
Intertwined.
Yeah, because I was an adult and they were not, so they didn't even put their names on there because I was a dick to the police. That's what happened to me, and then they ask you questions. Never say anything, even if you say you didn't do anything.
It don't matter.
That's a confession. If you say anything and said I needed my lawyer, that's an instant confession.
The fucking lawyers told this dude, they were like, oh, the minute they came to talk to you, you should have told them, I don't want to talk, give me a lawyer. But that's so unfair because
how is
the
that not
system.
common knowledge?
No, because even if you say you didn't do
but-
it, even if you say you didn't do it, I learned from going and like,
No,
even
no.
if you say you didn't do it, that is confession
No.
because you said anything. A judge will see that as a confession, even if it doesn't matter what the confession
I feel
is.
like you missed what I'm saying.
Okay.
He's just saying, how is it not common knowledge that you don't talk to police whatsoever
Yeah.
if they're questioning you?
I was
It's a
19.
lawyer.
I want to speak to an attorney.
I was 19.
Did you not pay
and
attention
drunk.
in school?
I hadn't gone to law school yet.
I'll,
You don't
I
have
will
to go
say,
to law school, motherfucker.
I was 19.
I'll say that when I got locked up the very first time and then 11, 12 times after that, I always talked to a certain extent. And then as I got older and I realized like what the game was, like I would ask for certain things, acting like I would get they would get a confession from me. Like
Make
I
us a
got
pumpkin
one time I
seed.
got like three sandwiches and a bunch of Mountain Dews and all that. They'll let you smoke a cigarette and shit. And then
gonna
you're
need
like,
an
man,
A."
I'm getting tired. I'd like to go to jail now. But it isn't common knowledge, but if you're doing something wrong, it's easier to be like, give me a lawyer, right?
Right.
But if you're an absolute good person, which this person is, like through and through, to the heart and soul, right? Good person. That person's not going to automatically assume that he needs a fucking lawyer or
Right.
she needs a lawyer. So we keep it anonymous here.
Because they're just answering questions. They'll say
They're
we're
just
answering.
fucking- yeah.
They trick you on that, and they're allowed to lie. And again, 19. Ever talking about the friend that was on here that went to like the Capitol riots and things? Is that what we're talking about?
Allegedly. No.
No.
You said he went to
Talking
jail.
about a
Somebody
different
else.
person.
Nope,
Maybe
that's
be
not who we're
cool
talking about.
on the fucking air. God damn it.
That's not who we're talking about. But it just baffles me, man, that like they can do that to somebody and then publicly embarrass
them.
the fuck out of them and condemn them, and they have no right, bro. That's just like I go back to like the Chris Hansen guy. They're child molesters clearly, right? I get that, and I don't like that because I'm from somewhere that don't like that, and I was taught not to like that, right?
Right.
We don't like that on my
But
block.
you have to give that. You put them on TV and shit. The nation saw these people, right? They're never ever gonna be able to live a normal life now.
Well, I mean, if they didn't have a collection of gross texts, then I would say you have something. But
Right.
the vile shit that they say and
Yeah.
that they're going to do, that's evidence enough. That
Right,
they're
but you
not
give that
shit.
person no chance to change. I think everybody has to have it, because that's like me. If I was to say a child molester or a child rape, whatever, has, or even a murderer for that sense, let's just take it to another extreme. A murderer, right? If I'm to say like, oh, well, we should just put them all to death, whatever, forget about them, lock them up, right? Then that would be the same as me saying that I should have been locked up for good and been put to death. Like, you have to give that person at least, like, they give me fucking 13 chances, 14
Yeah.
chances.
And there's a
like,
lot of people who really feel that way. They think you're a criminal, and
That's it.
That's it. That's where it ends.
And that's unfair.
And it's absurd.
I'm gonna throw some police person under the bus here. So
Police person?
yes,
Is his
okay.
name Justin Witt? Because he's a cocksucker.
No, I don't know.
Cocksucker.
All right, the guy
okay.
that killed George Floyd. All right.
Oh, yeah.
Doing what
Absolute
he
horror.
does, which he's done hundreds of times before, because that's how police restrain people.
Yeah.
A lot of deaths happen all the time by police hands.
Yeah.
So he didn't think anything of it. All right, the brother of George Floyd is on camera several times, like, you see, I can't watch the video. We shouldn't have to go to court for this kind of shit. And it's like, I want this certain type of justice. And I was like, what does that mean? What do you want for that? You got to give people due process in court, because
Right.
that trial's coming up for that. And it's like, he keeps
No,
saying,
fuck
I do.
'em. Yeah,
Yeah,
fuck them.
No, you know, you need a court system. We have a court system. It's already broken as is, where it condemns people too quickly anyway. Where people plead out so they don't spend super amounts of jail time, even if you did nothing wrong. All right, I'm going to plea out for 3 months in jail for having a bunch of meth in my house, because if you don't, I can face 20 years.
yeah, and fuck that.
Or like shoplifting. Sure, fine. I'll get out of jail. I'm not going to spend 6 months in here for shoplifting. Yeah.
Don't be so sure. It just, I don't know. I agree that that's such a double-edged sword. I think morally speaking, like, there could be a lot more done. There could be a lot more done in the very beginning of people's lives that would restrict that, like poverty or, having alcoholic, drug addicted parents and, you seeing that and you being traumatized by that. And then you finding drugs yourself and then, medicating yourself and then eventually turning into the thing or whatever, like whatever the reason is, like there are definitely root causes to why somebody becomes a criminal, why somebody becomes a child molester, a murderer,
Not
a
everyone
rapist.
is just a piece of shit.
Not everybody begins as unless you're a sociopath or psychotic, something like that, that's different. That is a biological difference in your brain that doesn't connect the wires correctly.
So is drug addicts.
Yeah, but
you don't start out that
you don't
way.
start out
You
that
do.
way.
A lot of people do.
No, you
You're
don't.
born
Look,
and your
if
brain
I'm-
pattern goes.
Okay, so I'm an addict. I was born. If I never did drugs, I would not be an addict.
Yeah, but
Wrong.
crack babies.
Wrong. Because
Yeah,
everyone has to self-medicate one way or another. You
They don't
drink
have to.
Yeah, not everybody.
I think we all do though.
Yeah,
People
we
are
all
just
do.
happy.
It's human nature. I can eat. You could raise all
It's
the
sad
food.
human nature.
You could raise all the food. You have
Sad
enough
as
land to
fuck.
raise all the food you ever need.
Right.
But then you don't get to have sugar because you don't have enough land to grow sugar. You don't have enough land to get cattle. All right. So you couldn't have cattle. You couldn't have sugar, and there's probably something else you probably couldn't have. But you could grow all the food you ever want to eat.
Right.
All right.
What
Absolutely.
does this have to do with drug addiction?
What this has to do is that most
I was
people's drug
wondering that
addiction.
too.
No,
I'm just wondering.
Most
like,
people's
what?
drug addiction starts off from an imbalance that we have genetically while we survived the plague, because of salt imbalances. All right. Most drug addictions are linked back to us having salt problems. You can look this up. It's the
I'm
salt
going
brain.
to, 'cause
Yeah.
I want to know, like, because that's the thing. Like, I could blame it on that solely, but when I hurt myself when I was 16, like, if I had never hurt myself then and never was turned on to a doctor that would just write it with that, like me calling him up when I was fucking 17, like, I don't think I would have ever made it as far as I did. Now, I can't say that because my environment around me, I had people who grew up and they sold, and I sold pills for a very long time and never took one of them because I knew what it did. And the minute I took one, the game was over. The minute I felt that feeling, it was like I had arrived home. Like that's where I had wanted to be since I had been a kid. And I was, hiding myself
Finally
away or
found
quiet
the
in a
fucking
corner.
answer.
Like I used to sit and be quiet. I had things that I dealt with since I was a kid. And the minute I got high, I will say the minute I got high from something and I wasn't taking it for a purpose anymore, like that, it was off to the races. There was no getting in the way of me and that fucking pill. Nothing.
But
right?
see,
It just changed.
that's
But who's to say, like, if I had if I had a
just a
different
salt
upbringing,
imbalance.
not good, so to speak, but a different upbringing, if I had a different environment, different friends,
Or if you
and those
just
friends had
never
a different
took a
environment.
pill.
yeah. If you
Never
lived,
took a pill.
If you lived in ancient times, not even ancient, but like 100 years ago, where they had 160 years ago, before they had like even morphine to hang around, where you had to eat like sodium hydroxide or sodium methoxide, which is a precursor to aspirin for pain. People, their lives were hell, all right, and they had to work in the field, and you had to raise what you killed and everything else. And most people, you had like 60% of the population was farmers. You had cities, but 60% of the population was farmers. They had farm remedies, but they couldn't get drug addiction because there were no drugs around.
Right.
All right,
Except
but,
opium. Yeah.
but they didn't have
Fermented
opium.
wheat.
They didn't have poppy flowers growing in America at that time.
I don't know. Maybe they did.
And it is about environment. You have people.
That's awesome.
In Africa, they have certain types of opiate painkillers that come from these roots, basically, and they give it to women who are in childbirth. And it's one of those things. Oh, it's all natural and it's all safe, but it's not all natural. I mean, it's all natural, but it's not safe. They've been using it for thousands of years.
So you saying all this stuff is genetically passed down because our ancestors didn't have proper drugs?
Yes.
I think the wordage.
Alcohol. Think of alcohol tolerance. All right. Why is it alcohol tolerance or sugar tolerance for different ethnic groups are okay? Like, why is it if I'm in this ethnic group, I'm going to be much more likely to be diabetic, and I can handle my alcohol versus people who hadn't had alcohol in their entire life?
I think that
screw
just,
it.
I don't know if that is dedicated towards like alcohol or drugs. I think that is just human biology. Like the two don't correlate like you would think. Like it's not because of the genetic modifications through a long period of time. It's just because their bodies and their ethnic groups are built differently, so they respond differently to chemicals. And that's where that comes from. But where was I going with that? I don't fucking
Just
know.
think about it, because what I want to ask right now is why don't white people get sickle cell? What's that about?
Okay. Well, see, that has to do with certain types of flies that have come from Middle South Africa. And generally, because white people don't naturally occur there after they immigrate out from there, and it is something that used to be transmitted through blood or sexually transmitted disease, or has to come from a bunch of other horrible
You
things.
cannot get sickle cell from
I know,
sexually
so it's
transmitted
like Bill
disease.
Burr could get it now.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. It's
Why
a
doesn't-
genetic
Why
thing.
doesn't Dave Matthews have
they-
it?
Like your DNA's fucked.
No, your DNA is totally screwed, but you can generally give it to white people, and they have given it to white people. It
I
is.
don't feel like that's true.
Yeah, I don't think you can give somebody a genetic disorder.
If we can
No.
give
by
people heart,
having sex.
we
It would be like, oh my god, I got autism because I fucked an autistic person.
I thought I was doing a good
No,
deed.
no, it's not
And now
this-
I can't
No,
feel anything.
no.
Trying to
All
make
right.
them feel good.
Everything's purple.
Here's the thing. The reason biological weapons are scary is because you have the best of the best scientists who are like, I think we can make a gun that gives people heart attacks. I think we can give a weapon that can give people cancer. I think we can make people sick with anything. And anything you can think of sickness-wise, they've done it, even though it's against the law to do it, like in national law. They've made labs to do it, all right?
Right.
Sickle cell can be transferred for different parasites. And it's still commonly caused. There was a weaponized version of it that got out from the Soviet Union, and it's still transferred to people, and they're white, through sexually transmitted
So if
things.
the government wants to give it to everybody, they just have to find a way to weaponize jungle fever.
Fucking. This conversation reminds me of COVID,
Okay.
bro.
I am because I don't know anything. I'm not going to claim to know anything.
Yes, you do.
but
You know it all. Don't lie to us.
I feel your frustration, and you're probably right about what you're gonna say.
I can see how it could be weaponized because you can change genetics. You can remove something, you can put something else in. So I can see how it could be weaponized, but you cannot fuck someone and give them sickle cell. No way. 100% cannot do it. It is not an STD.
The parasites.
Clowned.
The parasites. They can transfer it on. All right.
Look that shit up.
Sickle cell anemia.
Well, that's what I was saying. That it reminds me of the COVID talk. Me and Sarah got into it. Well, not got into it, but we talked
Sickle
about
cell
it.
disease is not contagious, so you can't catch it from someone else or pass it to another person like a cold or infection. They've inherited it.
What if Google's lying?
It's not about
Shut
Google
up.
lying.
This
it's about the most common answer on
this
these.
is kids'
Hey,
hell.
that's something that I was thinking about when I was driving the other day. Because when a customer asks me something, say I don't know it, right? Because I may be a master electrician, but I don't care how long you've been a master electrician. You'll never know everything about the trade. That's why we have a book to reference to, blah, blah, blah. Because there's a lot of things you don't do during the day. A lot of people get into one part of the trade and that's it. But I was thinking on the way home, and I'm like, we live in a beautiful time, right? Because I can go I don't have to store information in my brain anymore, right?
Right.
It relaxes the need to have it, right? Because I remember, I don't know, I was in like my high school and like SAT, it was a weird time because they were really against like your calculator and stuff. You could only have a certain one. You couldn't have a
Right.
graph in one, like, because it did too much for you. And they wanted you to be able to do it with your brain. And there was this big uproar of all this shit, right? But when it comes down to it, that is what, like, now I know it's different, right? Because we progressed and it's a little bit better. But I don't feel bad anymore for bringing, like, not storing the information up here, like leaving all this up here clear for something else or to put the work into action. And then I can look at the information on Google or whatever. And I think so many people are like, well, you're a master electrician. You should fucking know all the answers. And that's only one thing. I'm
Well,
talking
right.
like there's a lot of groups of people that can do that same thing. I'm like, I don't have to.
Well, and
I don't have to store it.
It's absurd to assume that someone who is, it doesn't matter if they're an expert in something or not. It's stupid to assume that one person would know everything about any topic. That's dumb.
Any topic. I don't care how many times you are,
Malaria and sickle cell.
how many years you've studied something. It doesn't matter.
Right.
I think that you should. I think we live in a beautiful time, and people should accept that and stop being so harsh. Because your mental capacity and your what is it when you pull something out of your memory, whatever that is, recall, right? Shouldn't be dumbed down just because you can't recall a shit. You should be able to pull out your phone. Even, you know what I mean? That's just where we're at now, and all the information is there. Why not utilize that? And put,
to a degree, I agree with you, but then that's like saying, oh, I can't think of the answer during a test. Why can't I just use the textbook? Because there it is.
Yeah.
I mean, we have to still strengthen our memories to some degree.
Do we?
Right.
Because
Right.
all right.
Yes.
Okay.
Otherwise, we're just going to be memoryless dumbasses.
I don't listen
that
to
have to
Self-Rogan
rely on things.
a lot about these things or his podcast. I'm going to bring up the DMT and Machine House / aliens
Right.
conversations with these things.
Egyptian giants, bro.
Yeah, Mythlights. Anyway,
Motherfucking white light, cuz. Fractals, you hear me?
so anyway, what I'm going to put up is that a lot of people report you see a library when you're like tripping on certain things, and you have all the information that's ever been known in the
Akashic
library.
record.
And you can't fucking remember any of it after you get out of the trip. But you see people who write shit down that they couldn't possibly know. Because it's like,
Right.
Akashic record.
yeah, shit like that.
They say that I was watching
Oh, you
something
know
about
that?
that there
So I
is
was reading
a
it.
force field within our planet, because this is the only planet we've ever been on. Our energy has never been destroyed. It's never been, like, we have always been here. You as a person, your consciousness has always been here, and all the thoughts that you could ever think to think have been here for as long as the planet has been here, right?
Right.
So there's which I'm probably saying this wrong for somebody who does a study on this. Probably I'm like fucking it up, but the Akashic record is an energy field that you can tune into, right? It has all the information that has ever been on the planet. It's all happening at one time. Like, you can pull thoughts from there, creativity, anything from this record of our history on this planet or this universe, right? And that's something like that. I feel like in the DMT world, like, as much as I think it's just such a mind fuck to begin with, if you drank ayahuasca or something, you could really sit in there for a while and bask in it. It'd be different. But DMT and smoking it, it's just so much all at one time that you don't even think you don't even know what you are at that point. You know what I mean? So it's hard to create a memory within the DMT realm when you come back to hold on to. I mean, we have a hard time remembering a dream more than 5 minutes after we wake up. You know, you really have to practice. So maybe if you practice, you could pull information from the DMT room. It might help you get to that Akashic record and actually learn something of substance.
I know a guy, and he didn't care about the police at all. He was back in prison, but he used to shoot up DMT. Like, he used to like liquidize it and then like shoot it up, and he went crazy on that kind of shit over and over. But he used to like go on to that. I was like, I have so much knowledge, and he would just pull up random information about random people. It was like
something I thought the other day. There's so much stuff, like when you look at like astral projection, enlightenment, Buddhism, all these things that claim to have the answer to enlightenment and all the answers, all that shit, and DMT. You think about everything that people are like, oh, I'm fucking so enlightened and I'm so fucking woke and shit. If that was the case, like, you wouldn't have to. You would be on top of the world.
Statement.
You wouldn't even be making the statement to do that, right? Like, if I could get all the information from my dreams or an astral projection, I would have the winning lottery numbers for Wednesday night. Like, get the fuck out of here with that. You know what I mean? I don't think none of us have the answer, but all these subgroups all claim to have the answer. Like, I think all you subgroups need to make one big group and figure it the fuck out.
But think of it this way
That's
also.
right.
If you have the answer to everything that's happened or is going to happen, that means it's set in stone, and you had to live your lot in life. You can't change your lot in life. If you're...
Kill myself.
Yeah, but that was always destined to happen then, all right? You see, that's the whole argument about predestination. It's already written down. It's already happened. Because
on
time
Google.
gravity is all... Space and time is all about gravity and functions and everything else.
said
So everything
it's
that's
on
already
Google.
happened is already going to happen. So, I'm sorry
That's
I
what
took
they
the
say
article
that
away with you.
they say that.
Oh no, it's okay. I'll look it up.
I've heard the saying that time it's all happening at one time. There is
Yeah,
no
no.
definitive, like, forward moving time.
Right.
It's all just happening all at the same time, and we perceive it to be day after day after day.
Exactly.
After day, year after year, century after century, decade after decade. Well, I said one before that.
But
You-
what practical sense does that make?
It makes all practical sense.
Well, I think it makes you think outside I think the whole purpose of this is to think outside the box. Like, we can't just put these guidelines on Earth and then that's it. That's physics. That's fucking like quantum mechanics. It's whatever. I think that there's so much we don't know that we have to open our brain up to believe that it is beyond comprehension, right? You'll never understand it, but let's try to grasp it, right? So if time happens all at one time, and it does change things a little bit, right? You don't live and create history. History has created you.
Yeah.
But if there's no like timeline or whatnot, and everything's just happening at once, then that implies that there's just one singular moment.
Yeah. What's wrong with that? All right.
What's outside of that?
God.
Why?
I was thinking like more moments technically, because you would have your moment, you would have your moment, you would have your so on and so forth. But it's all happening at once.
Remember what
you just experience them differently because of consciousness.
Yeah, time bubble. So basically,
I mean, I don't know, but
yeah, we don't know. But we'll know when we die.
Have you seen the videos where they pick like a grain of salt and then they zoom in until they get to the molecular structure of a grain of salt, right? And then they zoom in further, and then you start to see the quarks and stuff like that. And they zoom into the quarks, and sure enough, there's another world, right? They zoom into that world, and then they find a grain of salt on that world, and they keep zooming, and it goes on forever.
It's like a Matrix. Why there's like an argument that we're in a giant video game.
It's essentially molecular fractals.
Right,
So like you just keep going, and it's
just
more of the same. And it's all on a smaller level.
And I think that's why DMT fucks us up so much, is because that thing you can put your head around. Like if I could just keep zooming in, I'm just going to keep zooming in. That's it, right? But in the DMT realm, like it's like that, but your entire being is doing that all at the same time, and everything around you is doing that, and you can't grasp anything because nothing exists and everything exists all at the same time. So you're trying to grasp onto something that fucking matters because you're a human that needs to make sense of everything. In reality, nothing makes sense, right? The only reason that this does is because your brain has worked it out to weed out all the dumb shit and all the fractals and all the fucking, the stuff that we don't understand, and only give you the shit that you need to make it through the day. In reality, you have shit floating around you all day. You have particles and atoms floating around you like fucking, it's just baffling to think about.
It's like people who have seizures or are blind and their brain can perceive shit that's going on.
Yeah.
Even though they're not fully conscious, but they can remember and walk through walls and shit. Like, no, you can walk into walls instead of walking into walls. There are some people who have seizures and they know where they are and they can move and through rooms and shit, but they're not awake or conscious, but their brain automatically does that. What? So
ever since
it's how I drive when I have seizures sometimes.
I worked with a girl who we could tell that she was having a seizure, but she would have no recollection of 10 or 15 minutes. She'd be typing on the computer and start talking crazy, and then she would have no idea what happened.
So is it like sleepwalking?
I guess you could describe it that way. Yeah. Okay.
Each their own.
Yeah.
Y'all good? Y'all hungry?
I'm hungry.
No, man. I want to talk about this thing.
Yeah.
This thing.
In Taiwan,
I'm sorry.
They're urging people to stop changing their name to Salmon to get free sushi.
Why?
There's this restaurant that's offering free sushi to anybody with the name Salmon.
That's so funny.
So people just keep changing it, and the government's like, "You're wasting our time.
Yes.
This deal is gonna end. Just stop it."
No, they need it. All right.
That is so good. I love that you even discovered this somehow.
Yeah.
Yes, but think you need that. Think about the Terminators in the future. One of the savior of Earth is going to be named Salmon. So,
like the CNN travel thing, Taiwan urges citizens not to change their name to Salmon to get free sushi.
It's a great title.
Or Myanmar, all right, where they're having a revolt right now.
Yeah.
Okay? I can't believe people don't understand what's going on there. All right.
Stop.
People are like, "Oh,
Go on.
All right, what's your all's perception on the Myanmar incident that's going on?"
The government's run amok.
Yeah. I don't know. It's hard to. I don't know. I'd pulled a human fucking way, and they're like, that's all that's on Reddit. That's all that's on Facebook and shit. So I've kind of just scrolled past it, really didn't look into it. Couch sent me something that I actually read, and it baffled me. But other than that, man, I've tried to, I don't know. I feel they're suffering and pain, but they're in a state of civil war when it comes down to it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Where are you going with this? What's your point?
My point is that literally the Myanmar government was overthrown by the military, which
Right.
they took over from the military, and the military's killed the democracy government. So these people are protesting that. All the people have to do to not get killed by the military is shut the fuck up,
Right.
and then join the military.
But what's the military's stance on things? Like,
They're not that bad. They give people food. They give people water.
Says
they
the guy who's in the United States.
No. Here's the thing. The reason they wanted democracy is so they could have better free trade routes. But they had a better government system when the military ran it because you didn't have a bunch of idiots
right?
screwing things up. And all this backlash,
Yeah.
if you just leave things alone, you can overthrow the military much easier from in the military. Because this happens like every 5 years. They get overthrown in the military from within themselves. If you just wait your time. My take, anyway. All right, now you can go eat.
What are we eating?
White chili
All right.
and cornbread.
About to burn that asshole up, cuz.
It's gonna make your asshole feel so
What a
good, man.
burned up asshole.
Well, then don't
Listen,
eat it.
I make my white chili with cream
Hearts
cheese
of babies. Fates of elephants.
rather than sour cream.
Yeah.
Ball sacks of a
And I
bull.
just cannot understand. The cream cheese doesn't melt all the way. There'll be little... How? It's creamy, it's cheesy, it's cold, that shit's hot as fuck. Why does it not melt all the way?
Because they
it's-
put spray paint in it.
Because the proteins bind together when they coil up with heat.
Well, that's some bullshit.
I don't like the rules.
I notice whenever I dump milk into orange soda, it does weird shit too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Did you know if you leave milk
I've
in your
seen that.
fridge for like 2 years, it separates? And you can get like water from like the top of it, like clean drinking water from the top of it.
That's
I
badass.
I have milk in my fridge. It's like a year and a half old. And like
I don't
all
think
the
I want to drink that
Throw
water.
it out, buddy.
No, it's a science experiment
Aw.
now. I want to see how much it turned into. It's unopened. I just want to.
I used to have a bottle of milk under my desk when I was a kid. I left it there for like months, and it got all weird, and it started to separate. Like there was a difference there, and it was like chunky at the bottom, and
Yeah, because all the fat like stays at the bottom, but
yeah, and then it got like kind of watery at the top, but it wasn't fully clear because it was still in the process.
Yeah, but when it comes really clear, if you like extract it with like a needle and you put it like in a slide, there's like nothing living on the top part. It looks like water.
But then it started to like expand the bottle, and I thought, well, this is probably gonna explode all over my.
God, can
The
you
funny
imagine?
thing is,
Yeah.
man, I've seen it. There's a certain point in the beginning where it expands the bottle,
Yeah.
and then if you leave it long enough, it decompresses the
comes
bottle
back
for some
in.
Yeah,
reason.
because
I don't know.
it ferments and then it sucks out the oxygen and then it starts producing alcohol.
Chemical reaction.
That's how they ferment milk. All right.
Booze.
I don't want to eat no more. All right, man. That was episode 99, dude.
Yeah.
I can't believe next week will be 100 episodes.
100.
It doesn't sound like a lot, but that's a lot. We've
100.
been putting in work.
Triple
Yeah.
digits, cure.
Aside from you getting sick.
Oh yeah, pin this on me.
No,
It is your
it
fault.
is your
because
fault.
We'd be
fucking
at like
fascist.
103 right
think
now.
about it though. I mean, we've done it every single week for a while.
Yeah.
And fuck the people who don't listen to it, you know?
Yeah.
We listened to it. Butterfly missed you for 3 weeks. Shout out to Butterfly.
Aw,
Hi,
put up,
Butterfly.
No,
We're
we do.
so sorry.
If all of our listeners have made it to the end of this podcast, we do greatly appreciate it.
Thank you.
We would like to thank our guest, Dr.
Unless you're a
Sex
fucking
Woods again.
fed.
We would like to
fucking
thank
bitch.
Yeah, if you're a Fed, go fucking watch. What do Feds watch? What do you watch?
Willing
They watch The
Grace.
Office.
Gay porn? or
Criminal
something?
Minds.
Fucking go do something. Go twiddle your thumb somewhere else
They
and
watch
fuck with
know.
somebody
kids
else's life.
drowning in
I'm going
snow.
to be the opposing voice here. If you're the feds and you're listening, fucking thanks. I think that's cool as shit.
Once they shut down the X-Files, I was done with them.
No, dude, if you made it this far, we do appreciate it. We thank you for your jacket, too. That was a great addition to the podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, but other than that, man, like, comment, share, hit the notification button. Let us know what we can do further in the future for you.
Yeah, leave us
Thank you for
Bitcoin.
listening.
Skippity-bop-bop-bop. Skippity-bop-bop.
Candy Cane Island.
Whoop, 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 whoop.
How do we
The
get there?
Uninteresting podcast.